Glasgow's a city where people talk, but they only tell the truth when nobody's listening. Stories get twisted, rumours get legs, and reputations grow arms bigger than the men that had them. But one night always stands out. October 6th, 2008. A Monday that should have ended with sore heads in the morning. Instead, it ended with a gunman pulling up in the city centre and firing 9 shots into 2 men standing outside a pub. This is the story of George Redmond, a guy with a past, a name on the street, but still somebody's brother, somebody's pal. A man whose murder was carried out with pure precision, and still, to this day, nobody's been held responsible. Let's run it back to how it all went down. George Redmond had been out all afternoon with 2 pals. They hit the West End, Crow Road, for drinks, then moved into town. Dinner at an Italian place on Cambridge Street, right near Sauchiehall Street. Nothing fancy, just 3 guys eating, drinking, talking nonsense like everyone else on a Monday night. Later, they walked into the Waldorf bar. A few more pints, a bit of laughter, nothing heavy. One of the 3 left early. The other 2, George and John Maguire, stayed behind to finish up. Just before 10:30 PM, they stepped outside. George was on his mobile. Maguire lit a cigarette. 2 guys standing on the street, minding their own business. They had no idea someone had already made up their mind about how this night was going to end. A black Porsche Cayenne rolls up. Not speeding, not skidding, just smooth, controlled. The way it moves when the driver knows exactly what they're there to do. Window slides down, 9 shots, automatic pistol, fired from around 15 feet away, close enough to make sure, far enough to avoid a struggle. George is hit multiple times in the back. Maguire takes rounds to his arms and body and hits the ground. The Porsche doesn't hang about. It heads east, across the M8, towards Wishaw, like the route was planned days in advance. Later, police find it burned out in a housing estate in Gartcosh, stolen in Springburn, false plates cloned from a real Porsche down south, straight up professional stuff. And that wasn't the only motor. A blue Ford Focus was spotted running convoy with it, before and after the shooting. Someone wanted this done clean and unseen. Ambulances rush both men to the Royal Infirmary. George dies shortly after arrival. Maguire survives and ends up under police guard for over a week. Inside the bar and nearby hotel, the Thistle, now the Doubletree, visitors from the Acrobatic Gymnastics World Championships are panicking. Gunshots in the city centre weren't what they expected on a night out in Glasgow. Police lock down the area. Detectives are on the scene fast, but the shooter? Long gone. This is where the story gets messy. Police knew George. The streets knew George. And depending on who you asked, he was either a serious figure in Glasgow's organised crime, or a guy who hung with the wrong people and acted harder than he really was. The Pulp Fiction Crew nickname? That wasn't a movie reference for fun. It came from a reputation for wild violence. There was the 2004 funeral incident in Porsche, where two men supposedly get stabbed for disrespecting the wrong person. There was a drug dealer, a former police officer, who said George helped run him over weeks before the shooting. But George's brother, Pat Redmond, tells a different story, the side nobody on the street cares to hear. George wasn't a gangster. He was my wee brother. He said George didn't have cash like people claimed. He wasn't living big. If anything, he borrowed money. Pat believes the killing wasn't about power, just debt. A man owed money. Someone with a big ego wasn't getting paid back. And when a guy with status doesn't get his money, he hurts somebody to save face. Simple, brutal, street logic. A major inquiry launches from Anderston. Police scour CCTV, search the area, appeal for witnesses. But when you're dealing with organised crime, nobody talks. Nobody wants to be seen talking. And the ones who might talk, they disappear, go quiet, or suddenly can't remember anything. Theories pop up fast. A drug dealer from Denniston who George stabbed in 2006. A rival involved in the security industry. Bigger drug suppliers he might have ripped off. Or just a straight up, you owe the wrong man money situation. The third man from the night came forward, was questioned and released. Nothing stuck. No arrests, no charges. Case goes cold. Pat says the police didn't care because of who George was. They saw it as what goes around comes around. And honestly, a lot of people in Glasgow believed the same, even if they wouldn't say it out loud. 3 months later, the case takes a surreal turn. On Celebrity Big Brother, Tommy Sheridan, former MSP, tells the housemates he's been getting inside information from a police officer. He says George and Maguire were big hitters. Suddenly, a real murder becomes reality TV gossip. For George's family, it's another punch to the gut. More than a decade later, nothing. No arrests, no breakthrough, no one stepping up. Pat Redmond doesn't believe anyone will ever be charged. He says the case was forgotten by authorities long ago. He focuses on the good memories now, not the violence or the rumours. George Redmond wasn't perfect, far from it, but he didn't deserve to get executed on a pavement in the middle of Glasgow. This wasn't sloppy, this was organised. A hit done with military style planning and zero hesitation. Whoever ordered it, whoever pulled the trigger, they walked away clean. And unless someone talks, this case stays in the shadows.